New student Starfish. Chapter 2. School days, dear old golden rule days, SpongeBob sang as he and Patrick approached the entrance to Mrs. Puff's boarding school. They stopped beneath a large archway. Well, here we are, SpongeBob said happily. Are you ready to broaden your horizon? Expand your mind? Think out of the box? Okay, Patrick said with a shrug. SpongeBob retucked his crisp white shirt, hiked up his square pants, and straightened his red tie. He took out his handkerchief, bent down, and gave his shiny black shoes a quick buff. How do I look? SpongeBob asked Patrick. I don't know. Yellow? Patrick replied. SpongeBob shook his head and tisk-tisked. Wrong answer, my friend, he said. I look smart, and so do you. Come on, Patrick, SpongeBob said as he skipped through the front gate, dragging Patrick by the hand. We don't want to be late. Mrs. Puff's boarding school was a small yellow boathouse perched on a pier in front of a tall lighthouse. There was a practice track that surrounded the school where Mrs. Puff gave boating lessons to her students. SpongeBob flung open the front doors of the school with a flourish. The hallway seemed to sparkle. The newly washed floors shone. The windows gleamed and the walls were freshly painted. SpongeBob beamed with pride. Behold, Patrick, the whole way of learning, SpongeBob said as he led Patrick down the long corridor lined with lockers. SpongeBob stopped in front of the water fountain. This, of course, is the fountain of learning, he said in awe. I drink from it every day. Patrick leaned in to take a drink from the fountain. He turned the knob and the water shot up, missed his open mouth, and spurted right into his eyes. Patrick held his hands over his face. I'm blind, he cried. I've been blinded by knowledge. SpongeBob took out his handkerchief and wiped Patrick's eyes. Soak it up, buddy, soak it up, he said, and spun Patrick around. As I was saying, these are the lockers of learning, he continued. Patrick pointed to the staircase nearby. Are those the stairs of learning? He asked. SpongeBob shrugged. No, they're just stairs. SpongeBob scurried over to a staircase on the other side of the hallway and motioned with his arms. These are the stairs of learning. SpongeBob gave Patrick the complete tour of Mrs. Puff's boarding school, the gymnasium of learning, the lunchroom of learning, the nurse's office of learning, and even the lavatory of learning. The two friends walked past a trophy case to a photo gallery of all of the sea folk who had earned their boarding licenses at Mrs. Puff's school. The faces in the photos smiled smugly. At the end of the long row hung an empty frame with a placard that read SpongeBob SquarePants. Hey, where's your picture, SpongeBob? Patrick wanted to know. SpongeBob looked up at the empty frame with longing. I have not yet made the Great Wall, he said sadly. But this year, I just know I'll get my boating license. Patrick put his hand on SpongeBob's shoulder as they continued down the hallway. Patrick looked around. Mrs. Puff's boarding school seemed like an ordinary school, except for one thing. The hallways were all completely empty. Hey, where is everybody? Patrick wondered aloud. Home, I guess, SpongeBob answered. Class doesn't start till 9 o'clock. Patrick looked at his watch and his eyes bulged. It's only 6:20, SpongeBob, he gasped. You said we were late. SpongeBob patted his friend's back and smiled. Late for being early, of course, he declared. Come on, Patrick, I'll show you the room with the most class. The classroom. SpongeBob led Patrick to a small room at the end of the hallway. Inside, there were 5 rows of shell-backed seats, tucked into small desks in front of the teacher's desk. There were posters of boats and navigational charts tacked on the walls. Students could practice tying nautical knots on the ropes that were tethered to the bookshelf in the back. SpongeBob walked to the front of the room. This is the chalkboard. He patted the board affectionately. And like this chalkboard, we are blank slates waiting to be filled with knowledge. Oh, cried Patrick. I want to be a blank slate. Don't worry, Patrick, SpongeBob replied. You are. Next, SpongeBob led Patrick to a large board filled with shiny gold stars. He looked up at it with awe. And this magnificent piece of work is the good noodle board, SpongeBob said proudly. Each student's name is written here, he pointed. The gold stars next to the names are awarded for all areas of scholastic excellence. Attendance, penmanship, participation, basic desk sanitation, advanced desk sanitation, etc. I'll write your name here so you can start collecting stars too. SpongeBob wrote Patrick's name neatly in the last row on the chart. Look at all the stars you have, SpongeBob! Patrick cried out. Oh, I'll never be as good as you. You can do anything you set your mind to, SpongeBob said as he ran his finger across the long row of gold stars that followed his name. And besides, I'm just like everyone else, no matter how many stars I have, SpongeBob said with mock modesty. Ahem! 74! He coughed into his hand. Patrick spun around. What? Who said that? Was it him? He pointed to a glass tank set on a wooden crate in the corner of the classroom. Inside the tank, a small white egg was perched in an egg cup. A bright light bulb dangled from above. That's our class science project, Roger, SpongeBob said. He teaches us the greatest life lesson of all. Life's a box of chocolates, Patrick guessed. No, Patrick, Roger teaches us the precious value of life, SpongeBob responded. Oh, right, Patrick nodded, still confused. You see, Roger's shell represents the fragile line between life and death when behind the wheel of a boat, SpongeBob explained. This light bulb represents knowledge. He paused for a dramatic effect. And without its energy and warmth, Roger would die. Patrick switched the light bulb on and off repeatedly. Life, death, life, death, life, death, he cried with glee. Patrick, stop that, SpongeBob scolded, grabbing Patrick's hand. If that light bulb goes out for even a few minutes, Roger could die. It's very important to keep him warm until he's ready to hatch. Hatch? Oh no, cried Patrick. Roger's going to hatch? He'll crack into a million pieces. We have to save him. SpongeBob rolled his eyes. Oh, Patrick, Roger's supposed to hatch. How else will we find out what he is? Patrick's eyes widened. You mean you don't already know? He asked in disbelief. Roger could be an alligator or a lizard or a terrifying sea monster. Or a chick, SpongeBob suggested. He led Patrick to a desk in front of the classroom. He pulled another one up close. The best part about being early is that you get to sit close to the teacher. SpongeBob took his seat right in front of Mrs. Puff's desk. Do you think you're seaworthy enough to handle the second chair? He asked Patrick. Patrick slid into the seat next to SpongeBob. I'm learning! Stay tuned for Chapter 3 coming up soon.